clearly spawn innovation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brad. We appreciate it.
Okay. This one on? This one on? Hello, everybody. These are bright lights, Brad. You're correct. So, regarding Brad's speech, I've seen a lot of keynotes, and they're not always very good. But that was really, really good. And so thank you again very much. Appreciate that. I mean, it was relevant because he talked about rock and roll, pizza, things like Texas, Longhorns, hook 'em horns, goodbye, Aggies 27-25. And then, of course, the most important thing is the entrepreneurial community, that great discussion we're just having, because what he's talking about is going to happen here. It's going to change. There's no question, I believe, because we have all the pieces. So there's my 2 cents on that. So great keynote. But I'm not here for that. I'm here to introduce Mindful. And Jose and Jaime, who you're going to meet here in a minute, these are men of action. So remember that word, action, as you listen to Mindful, as you learn about Mindful and listen to Jose. And their action is all about big, big value as it relates to helping retailers and big companies keep their best customers. Now, customer retention, as it's known, is a huge and very expensive problem that is pervasive across all industries worldwide. I mean, everybody in this room is a customer. You know how poorly your suppliers and vendors, whether it's B2C or B2B, how poorly a lot of companies do keeping your business. So imagine if that got a lot better. So that's a thing to think about here, and that's what I'm passionate about in my career in enterprise software over the years, is a value proposition that's really compelling where people can't say no. And that's what I've learned in my career, and that's why I got really interested and excited about Mindful when they showed up in town. So you're going to hear more about that. And they have got capabilities that can solve that customer retention problem now. It's a very big, very real problem, and they've got a very real and ready-to-go solution. So you're going to hear about that here in a minute. And the CRM guys don't do this. Salesforce Automation doesn't do this. Business intelligence and all the reporting stuff, that doesn't do it. So there's a giant hole, a giant market opportunity. So if you're into this kind of value proposition, really pay attention to Mindful and what Jaime has to say. And hopefully you guys can get in with these guys before their funding closes and it's too late. So you don't want to miss out on the opportunity. Take a little risk, as Brad was talking about. And a little bit more on Jose and Jaime. So they're like the South Africans that are here. They're diverse and from a long way. They came from Chicago, and they moved down here 12 weeks ago and to go through the Tech Wildcatters program. And thank you for bringing the Chicago weather. Awesome. It finally caught up with you here. And so these guys moved down. They left their families behind. They've got an apartment near Tech Wildcatters. They don't have a car. They don't know anybody. They're nerds. They have no social life. So they're really committed. And Gabriella said earlier how hard everybody works in this program, and it is true. All 3 classes I've been a part of, they all work super hard. But these guys, they moved down here, and they got nothing here. This is all they got. So they're really into it. They're really invested. So again, I'm just plugging them because they're great guys, like the whole class is this time. Anyway, enjoy this presentation from Mindful, and thank you very much for the attention. Oh, and by the way, have a little sympathy for Jose and Jaime. These guys really need the money because they're both married to doctors. Thank you.
Charts every day. Charts by region, country, and customer. Pie charts, bar charts, line charts. Charts you've never seen before. They look pretty all right. But having data at your fingertips does not guarantee success. Finding ways to keep customers coming back to your store is like finding a needle in a haystack. And it might cost you 787 clicks. And once that needle is found, the customer is long gone. So, what's the best way to bring customers back to your store? Mindful. Mindful integrates with your e-commerce or CRM data and uses statistics to look at your customers' behavior and predict which customers are at risk. Then it gives you a list of customers you need to get in touch with, along with tools to easily communicate with them. Take this guy. He runs a business and uses Mindful to connect with his customers when they need him the most. Now he knows that Mary, who used to purchase $5,000 worth of goods, is off track. He calls Mary, offers her a discount on a new product, and Mary happily purchases. So we know, you really love your pretty charts. But really now, isn't it time to take action? Go to mindful.com and start getting more customers to shop with you again.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Michael. This weather compared to Chicago actually feels like spring. My name is Jaime Brugueras, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Mindful. At Mindful, we are improving the way businesses retain customers. With automated actions based on customer intelligence, we help retailers retain more customers and increase repeat purchases. Customer churn, as Michael said, is a big, old problem. On average, online retailers lose 25% of their customers every year. 25%. These businesses are spending a lot of money just to replace the customers that they're losing. So what are they doing to save customers? They're mass emailing everyone. The problem is that this manual process of sending mass emails not only takes time, but encourages people to opt out rather than enticing them to come back. More mature companies are spending $4 billion in analytical solutions. And what do they get? Charts, reports. That's useless. Why? There is a huge gap between looking at a chart, making a decision, and taking an action. I personally experienced this lack of action. After I graduated with a PhD in statistics, I analyzed marketing data for Fortune 500 companies. A lot of our research was forgotten about. It pissed me off. That's why I looked for a solution, didn't find one, and decided to build one. That's when I called Jose, who came in with more than 10 years experience handling big data at Blue Cross Blue Shield and Motorola. And together, we built Mindful, understanding that I needed to be better at three key things. Making it easy to integrate data, having superior capability of predicting customers at risk, and being much better at enticing customers back, which is why Mindful tests different variations of messages, sends the most optimal one, and then looks at responses and automatically adjusts offerings, becoming more efficient with time. This is extraordinary, but it's nothing like seeing it. So I would like to show you Mindful now. After you log into Mindful, you're presented with a number of e-commerce platforms that we can easily integrate with. You choose one, enter a few credentials, and done. We have seamlessly integrated customer and sales data. Using our survey software, you can collect or upload survey information, making Mindful the only solution that allows you to marry customer behavior and feedback in one single place. And then Mindful quickly goes to work. It uses its algorithms to predict the customers at risk, and then it allows you to configure rules that trigger actions. For example, you can trigger an action when the prediction score is above a certain threshold, when one of your customers purchased only once and it was 60 days ago, or, like in this example that I'm about to show you, when one of your most important customers, say, spends more than $500,000 with you, rates your service poorly. And then we choose the action. There's three types of action. You can send an email to the shopper, you can get an alert on the tool, or if it's something really important, you can get a text message on your phone. So how does this work? Does it really work? Well, we let our clients know. we track different metrics like customer satisfaction, customer lifetime value, retention rates, and the number of customers saved. Like in this example, we helped this client save 12 customers in only 7 days. Just that pays for the tool. And then we also track different metrics so that our retailers have full visibility on what's going on. Today, we have 20 paying clients and over 500 businesses testing it out. Take this client. Look, everybody's in retail, right? This client, it took him less than 10 minutes to get set up with Mindful without any intervention from us. Golf Ball Nut used to manually download data from 3 different shopping carts to then mass email their clients. Not anymore. And today, we're announcing that Mercedes-Benz will be deploying Mindful in more than 20 dealerships across Europe to track customer satisfaction and entice their customers to service their car back at the dealership. Our business model is very simple. It's based on the number of customers uploaded into the system. The more customers you upload, the more data you upload, the more you pay. We have competitors. Everybody does. But there's 4 things that sets us apart from these guys. 1, Mindful is proactive rather than reactive. 2, it triggers actions based on customer behavior. 3, it self-learns and automatically adjusts. And finally, it's quick and easy to set up. But what gets me really excited about Mindful is its growth potential. And Michael mentioned a little bit of it. Not only are we going to be the best customer retention tool for e-commerce, but for financial services, telecom, healthcare, and other industries. But together, we're looking to raise $400,000 in capital. And we already have investors in Chicago committed for $50,000. We have people that share our vision. And now it's your turn. With this money, we're going to build more connections to e-commerce platforms. We're going to expand distribution via partnerships, and we're going to increase our marketing and sales efforts. In conclusion, Mindful is in a fast-growing market, and customers have already validated our value proposition. Now we're looking for investors to share the success with. Thank you.
All right, question time. First of all, great job. Thank you. Cool. Like any good recommendation or heuristics or engagement engine, those type of things take time. They take time to aggregate the data and become more useful over time. How useful is your system to a new customer from the get-go versus, say, 6 months or a year from starting?
Great question. I think right off the boat, it saved them time. So like that example that I was saying, hey, you're doing this manual process, blah, 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 and you have one person doing that weekly, doing that process, it takes them a whole day. Well, now there's no need for that. So, as soon as you sign up, you save time there. And I would say that in order for you to see the advantages, which is, less people are opting out, or, you're saving all these customers, I would say maybe like what you said, 3 to 6 months is when you have enough data to say, this is awesome.
When you think about growing this business over the next 12 to 24 months, in your minds, what are the biggest risks? What keeps you up at night?
So one thing is the IP and having a big company just come in and replicate what we're doing. And although we are in the process of getting that secured, there's always ways to go around things, right? So that's kind of one thing that keeps me up at night. Another thing is if JCPenney comes to me tomorrow and says, here, I have 100 million clients, can you deal with that? I don't know what I would do. I mean, like angel investors, please come. I need money. I need to bring in 5 people to ramp up this architecture. So that's another thing that keeps me up at night. And then now more important in terms of sales is being able to make those connections with the partnerships, whether it's an email marketing software or an e-commerce platform to get them on board. So that's, once I get that first one or first 2, then that probably won't worry me that much.
Great video. Really
Thank
fun
you.
video. Actually, I had 2 questions. Can I do that, Gabby? The first is, these are services heavy in the first part of the evolution of the business. Where is that kind of point of leverage when you start transitioning away from being or becoming less of a services company? If you, as an investor, what would I look for that kind of when we get to this point, we will be able to kind of hit that point where we can do a much faster integration, we're deployed or we're API'd into X amount of partners out there. What does that look like?
So we were actually a consulting company before this. So we know about service and how much it sucks. And so that the key part was, like I said at the beginning, was making that integration with each and every e-commerce platform like solid, right? So I would say, making one integration took us 2 weeks with one of the e-commerce platforms and with 2 guys. So, and that really takes care of the service part. And, you have to, do a webinar or show people around. But so far, I mean, we've had great success without any or very little intervention with these guys. That guy from His Trunks, I was calling him, hey, can I demo you? And the guy's like, leave me alone. I'm already up and running. I'm like, all right, great.
Okay. And then the second question is, there's clearly algorithmic, given your background, there's an algorithmic black box component to this. I mean, in layman's terms, why is yours better than the other dozens of black boxes in the retention space?
Well, I don't know what the other black boxes look like, so I can't say that. I can't talk about them. I know that mine is just accurate. It's amazing. And really what makes it the secret is that there's not one algorithm that's better than the others. We got multiple companies using the same algorithm. So what we've done is we've built 3. And then we test out, like typical data mining, you take 30% of the data, and then you test it on the other 70, or the other way around. You take 70% of it, you test it on the other 30, and you see how accurate it is. And so for your retail company, you might be using algorithm B. And for my company, I may be using algorithm A, just based on automatically saying, this is 65% accurate, this one is 75. I'll use 75. And that's just one part, right? That's the prediction part. And then we got the other rules that are more configurable by the user. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it on? Am I on? It's on. Oh, there we go. Sean just grabbed my elbow real quick and wanted to make sure that I mentioned that he's from Australia, not South Africa. I didn't really realize the contention between the two until one day I walked into Tech Church and saw one wicked game of cricket break out. Ball was flying, and as I understand it, Gabrielle even went out and got him a rubber ball instead of that hard wooden ball that they typically use. PayTap is an interesting concept. I think you guys are really going to enjoy what you see here today, and I'm not going to elaborate on PayTap as a service and what it has to offer to folks, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the people here real quick. I've known Sean Michael Daly for about 3 years. About a little over 12 months or so, he came to me with this whole concept of socialized bill payments. And I kind of scratched my head and said, who the hell would ever want to do that? You know, it's just kind of strange to me. And you guys, some of you will find this kind of strange at first. Other people will get it in a heartbeat. And what I recognized is that everybody in the world is not like me. there's different demographics, different age groups, different social groups. But I started asking around. I asked my brother and what he's doing to care for his mother-in-law, and started talking to other folks that are taking care of college students and things like that. And it really struck me that this is a very interesting concept. The people involved here, Sean Michael Daly comes from a very, very well-noted background of socialized advertising, getting advertising out and advertising messages out through the social environment. His colleague in crime, Chip Oxendine, you'll hear a little bit about his background, one of the true key technologists in the world of bill payments. It's quite a concept. So the one thing I just want to ask you guys is, as you go through this, I think you're going to be quite compelled with PayTap. But look at it from a whole series of different angles and the opportunity that PayTap brings various different market segments. Not sure if this is fully working here or not. With that, I'll leave it up to Sean here, the guy from Australia.
G'day, and thank you very much for your time today. I'd like to get a show of hands of everyone here that at some point has been asked for money from family and friends to pay bills, or maybe asked family and friends for money to pay bills. Hands up. See, we've all done it. We've all asked. But when it comes to money and family, we like to think of our family members as being fine, upstanding citizens who are going to do the right thing. What we fear is this is how it's going to be used. Now, this is just one example of why PayTap is needed. PayTap does a very simple thing. It brings together social networking and bill payment, and that's a really important thing. So let's look at a use case. How would this be used? So we've got Mike here. Mike is part of the generation here in the United States that for the first time is supporting both his parents and his adult children at the same time. And he's got to manage it. It's not just about giving a check here, giving out some cash there. He's got to manage it or it will put him under. So he's able to use PayTap to accomplish a couple of things. First of all, he's able to use it to bring in numerous siblings and family members to help support bills for, say, his parents. He can use his iPhone contacts. He can use Facebook. He's able to bring them in and quickly message them about a bill that needs to be paid. When those people come in and look to contribute towards that bill, they're able to see the amount, they're able to see the date due, and the money that they put in goes directly to the biller. There is no chance of it going into something else that may be used for another purpose. It's going to the bill, and they get notifications that that bill has been paid. The other important element is that everyone has visibility in that transaction. Why is that important? Well, just because my brother said that he sent some money to Mum, I really want to see that. And also, if someone drops out, rather than something falling between the cracks and then a bill not get paid and late fees applied, everyone's aware. So we're able to nurture and help each other through this. So do you say to yourself, well, that's interesting. I've probably got a couple of times when I would have used that. What is this market? Well, this market is known as person-to-person, P2P. And in the United States last year alone, that was an $865 billion market. That is 11 billion individual transactions that occurred. And if you break that down into a series of use cases, the single largest use case at $131 billion was financial support. That is, family and friends helping other family and friends to pay their bills. There are also lots of other use cases in that large amount that we could also cover that are bill payment. But just that one alone that accounts for 15% of the total market is bill payment. So how are they currently doing that? Well, almost 70% of that is cash and check. And as we know, that is not an easy thing to move around and keep account for. Also, you probably haven't experienced it yourself, but if you go to a Western Union and you want to send somebody $100 today, you're looking at probably $17 in transfer costs, and then when that person gets the money, they want to pay their bill and they need it paid today before the gas gets cut off, they're going to be charged a further $5. Just say I've only got $50 to spend. look how much of that money is going towards transport. And then if I've only got $20 to send, at that point it's useless doing it because it's actually going to cost me money to do it. So, how do we take PayTap and make it the brand synonymous with bill payment in the P2P market? Well, by definition, social media plays a large role. And we can target very precise groups using social to introduce them to PayTap. And obviously, they've already got their family and friends set up in those networks. It makes it very easy for them to use it. It also allows us to go out for other markets that may not be traditional markets. But the real thing for us is the billers themselves. We had the opportunity to have billers present PayTap to their customers on their website through their billing statements. And why will they do that? Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, customer retention. This will reduce their churn. They are giving a set of tools to their customers so they can remain customers. And that's an amazing thing because apart from trying to accrue new customers, what is their biggest problem is keeping their existing customers. Also, it increases their revenue. The money's coming directly to them in electronic format, which means they get it sooner, and they don't have to pay other third parties like Western Union and Walmart for sending that money to them. And finally, it reduces their costs. One of the biggest costs businesses have today is increasing the amount of people that they have chasing bills. Last year in the United States, 1 in 5 families in the United States were contacted about a late bill. So how do we make revenue out of this? Well, we charge a convenience fee to the person that's providing the help. Think of it as if you went to an ATM and pulled out some cash, there's a convenience fee applied to it. The cool part about our model is that as other bill helpers come around a bill, the fee per bill helper goes down. But our revenue goes up, so it works out extremely well. So our platform has all the key ingredients. We have the social integration, the messaging, notification, reporting. And then we integrate seamlessly into the back end that billers use today. That's the Electronic Bill Payment Presentment Companies, EBPP. So we're able to send payments directly to billers seamlessly without any additional integration. Also, we have our front end, which is our mobile apps and our own web portal, and a deep integration in with Facebook. And finally, we can also offer our platform to existing P2P services, other bill payments, particularly the banks that already have people paying their bills, that they can also offer the ability to do socialized bill payment. So, who is the team that's going to bring this to market? Well, there's myself, and as Todd said, this is my third startup, and by mere definition, that means I've got great expertise in asking family and friends for money. I've also done an enormous amount in social media, user experience, and digital marketing, and I know how to build a brand and a culture to support that. My partner in all of this is Chip Oxendine. Chip is the former SVP of engineering for Bill Matrix, a company based in Dallas that was acquired by Fiserv. He was responsible for building the platform that processes $11 billion worth of bill payments per month. He's done a number of startups and most recently was involved in building a Facebook gaming platform. So he really gets this and has the ability to build this. On our board is Greg Haney. Greg was the former COO of Bill Matrix. He's got extensive experience in payments. He's allowed us to build a very complex model of managing risk, understanding what all the costs are involved in these sorts of transactions, and also has extensive contacts with the EBPP players, the billers, and the banks themselves. And then there's Todd. Todd's on our board. He's had an extensive amount of experience helping startups. He keeps me focused on how we go from this small company into a big company in lightning speed. And then I'm really happy to announce that just in the last couple of weeks, Kim Garrett has joined our advisory board. Kim was the former head of sales for Facebook for the past 4 years. She's recently retired, though we've been able to drag her back into this. She was the senior vice president for sales at Clear Radio Channel, and she's got an amazing amount of knowledge when it comes to social media strategies and big brands. So where are we right now? Well, we've got a lot of IP. We have the PayTap platform built out. We have integration in with Facebook and mobile apps. Through our EBP relationships, we had the ability to start processing bill payments for over 5,000 billers electronically in the United States, and we've started the process of engaging with billers for them to offer this service. What are we looking to do? We're looking to raise $1.5 million that will give us 12 months' worth of runway. We're going to use that to build the services and features that we have in this platform. One of the most important features in that is the Pay Anyone Certified. This will allow us to go to other billers that aren't electronic, such as student loans, medical bills, things like rent, but we will make sure that the money is going to where it's meant to go and not somewhere else. Also, looking to build out the brand and obviously to use digital and traditional means to publicize this. As we know, this is a very hot topic in the media, anything to do with people struggling in this economy. This is a great news story for that. We're also going to use it so that we can add on cross-border transactions. And finally, build out our team that's able to go out to billers and not only have them offer the service, but get them to promote the service to their customer base. So we've started. This is rolling out, and I'm really looking forward to some of you writing some large checks later on this afternoon. Thank you.
Great presentation. Thanks again. I guess probably the most obvious one would be how scary is it that a company like a PayPal is going to come along and implement a service like this on their own? Secondarily, do you think that your IP is unique enough that it can prevent that? And third, I swear, Gabrielle, this is one question. Third, have you thought about partnering strategies with companies like that?
Well, to answer your question, that's the thing that keeps me awake at nighttime is the fear of someone like PayPal or the like coming out and offering this service. But they're still dancing around with the idea of moving money between people, not the money going directly to the biller. So to me, this is all about traction and moving quickly to engage with the billers so that they offer this as a unique service. In terms of our IP, well, as we know, IP is only as good as the amount of money you have for lawyers to be able to defend it. And this is about a race to be able to really roll this out quickly. I think the market is hungry for something like this. I think we can really move it forward very aggressively. And part of the partnering strategy is that we'll offer our platform to other P2P players. I mean, we could go to a bank and say, you've already got people with their bills in there. We're not a threat to you. Offer PayTap through your service, and you get to expose your brand to their family friends. So it's a social media strategy for them as well.
So this feels like a related question, but how do you deal with the catch-22 of acquiring users but also needing to acquire the vendors and or billers, et cetera, and vice versa? Which one comes first? How do you deal with that?
Well, there we go. Well, in our particular case, we have two basic models. The first model is a non-biller direct model. What that model is that we can pay a bill, we can receive the payment for a bill, any of the 5,000 that we happen to offer, without having a relationship with the biller. That means that we can aggressively acquire users through the social media channels without ever having to go and sign a contract with a Metro PCS or an AT&T. The secondary model, the one that we'll be pursuing in the midterm, is a biller direct model. There are tremendous benefits to the billers going direct with us, and there are benefits for us doing that as well. But we can pursue both strategies at the same time, acquiring a very large user base by the tight integration with Facebook and driving these things socially through, I need help and will you please help me through my friends network, while simultaneously building our biller direct model relationships through a direct sales channel.
Great job, guys. I guess this is also somewhat related because ultimately this comes down to distribution. And, my sense seeing a lot of these is just casting a wide net kind of gets you you're spread too thin with a limited amount of capital. So generally the way these kind of work is if you can find a narrow group and get traction inside a narrow group, whether it's a geo or a type of vertical or community, and get traction within there, then ultimately it starts to spread from there. Have you thought about distribution from that perspective? And if so, what is a kind of community or vertical or geo?
Yeah, so it's a really good point. That's part of our social media strategy, and that's with the talent that we have on board. Being able to go out and search through and get a very precise audience and then be able to test messages on them, see what sort of traction we get, and be able to do a lot of those rapidly until we find that opportunity that really explodes for us. We really believe that that there are markets out there, there will be people that will use this that aren't part of that P2P market right now, that are very interested in helping people, but have never been given the opportunity to do it directly in something they can really see the value for. So rather than donating to a big organization where they can't see where that money goes, being able to help local, be able to see localized people that they can support, and then provide that support directly to get their bills paid and choose which bills they pay. I mean, that's the thing. If I'm helping my brother, I may not want him to have direct TV because he just can't afford that right now. But I want to make sure he's got power, phone, and his car loans paid for.
That's not a bad point, actually. The use case that we're talking about here, with where we're supporting a family member, or we are, the first use case that comes to mind is Shawn Michaels' brother, and having met him, I can understand why he would want to get him off the tab. However, there are other use cases that are longer term, where there's a finish line in sight. For example, supporting a college-age kid while they're in college, paying their bills for them specifically. When we think about the impulse control that an 18-year-old male has in college, certainly we would want to have some level of control over exactly how those funds are spent. Having been an 18-year-old male, I can say that's probably a very good thing. And had my parents done that, I probably would have maybe turned out different. The key here is that these scenarios map very well for that sort of thing. They also map very well for supporting an elderly parent, where there really is no finish line at the end of it. And siblings get together to do that. There are other scenarios where this sort of shared payment transaction is very apropos. For example, the sort of the spot charity type things, where you hear on the news that a child requires a life-saving operation. Donations generally don't flow through to a larger charity. They're paid directly to the family. In this kind of instance, we can insert ourselves into the transaction stream in order to facilitate that kind of funds transfer. And the donors know exactly where that goes. So there's a number of scenarios that go from the welfare type thing over to where you have some sort of a pastoral long-term care that you're responsible for, or a short-term care for a younger family member, or a spot charity type thing. So I think there's solid use cases that are very constructive, rather than just the one use case I think you identified, and that is that we certainly don't want to put them on the dole, on a family dole, and keep them there forever.
All right, I'm the last thing between y'all and happy hour, so I'll try to make it brief. And want to thank first our panelists for their questions this afternoon. And it's been very rewarding to be a part of these companies and this infrastructure in Dallas, and I really do hope that each of you considers becoming more involved next year, and with your time, your talents, energies, and yes, perhaps your money, supporting the startup ecosystem in Dallas. Next up, we have happy hour. Bill Gates is buying us all drinks at the Lemon Bar. The companies will be outside first. They'll forfeit the first 30 minutes of happy hour for visits with investors here at the Magnolia in the lobby outside. So again, thanks to each of you for spending time with us this afternoon, and on to the Lemon Bar. Thank you.
You did that quite well. Quick wrap up.